Now let's talk about blockchain course. Blockchain course is divided into 4 modules. Module 1 will talk about basics of blockchain. In this module, we'll cover topics like distributed system, what is blockchain, elements of blockchain, how blockchain works, tier of blockchain, and benefits of blockchain. Moving on to module 2, types of blockchain. In this, we'll cover topics like distributed ledgers and technology, public blockchain, private blockchain, and cap theorem. In module 3, we'll talk about bitcoins. The following topics will be covered. What is Bitcoin? How a transaction happens in Bitcoin, transaction data structure, miners and mining systems. Module 4, Bitcoin networks and payments. In this, we'll cover topics like Bitcoin networks and Bitcoin wallets, Bitcoin payments, Bitcoin investments, and how to sell Bitcoins, Bitcoin improvement proposal, BIPs. In this course, we haven't included DApp, that is a decentralized application, and Ethereum. We will make a separate course for this. We'll solely focus on DApp and its development and how it connects to the Ethereum. Now let's cover the first topic of this course, distributed system. A distributed system is a system whose components are located on different networked computers, which communicate and coordinate their action by passing message to one another from any system. A group of independent nodes connected with one another in a coordinate manner in order to achieve a common result, and they are structured in such a way that the group appears to be single system to the end user. The nodes are programmable, asynchronous, autonomous, and failure prone. Every node has its own memory and processor. They have shared state and can operate concurrently. The nodes are connected with one another in order to offer a service, share data, or simply store data. Example, blockchain. All the nodes communicate with each other using messages. All the nodes in the distributed systems are capable of sending or receiving messages to each other. Types of distributed system. Distributed programming typically falls into one of several basic architecture: client-server, three-tier, n-tier, or peer-to-peer, or categories, loose coupling or tight coupling. Let's talk about the first one, that is client-server. Architecture where smart clients contact the server for data, then format and display it to the user. Input at the client is committed back to the server when it represents a permanent change. Three-tier. This architecture that moves the client intelligence to the middle tier so that stateless client can be used. The simplify application deployment. Most web applications are three-tier. Now let's talk about the n-tier. N-tier architecture that refer typically to a web application which further forwards their request to another enterprise services. This type of application is the one of most responsible for the success of application servers. Peer-to-peer. This architecture where there are no special machine that provide a service or manage the network resources. Instead, all the responsibility are uniformly divided among all machines known as peers. Peer can serve both as client and as a server. Example of this architecture include BitTorrent and the Bitcoin network. Now let's talk about client-server and peer-to-peer system, also called as P2P system. Client service architecture, an entity which communicates with the server in order to complete their task. They are usually connected to the server on the internet. The biggest disadvantage of this architecture is that the whole system is dependent on a central point, that is server. If the server goes down, then the whole system stops working. Example of server includes web server, mail server, and file servers. Each of these servers provide resources to the client devices such as desktop computers, laptop, tablet, and smartphones. Most servers have one-to-many relationship with clients, meaning a single server can provide resources to multiple clients at one time. Now let's talk about P2P network. This architecture is likely a network of interconnected computer systems in which they are able to share the information and resources. It can be easily configured and installed. All the nodes in the network are capable of sharing resource and information with other nodes present within the network. Even if any node goes down, it does not affect the whole system. Maintaining and building such architecture is comparatively cost effective. Example of P2P network is BitTorrent or blockchain. Now let's cover what is blockchain. Blockchain is shared, immutable ledger that facilitates the process of recording transaction and tracking asset in business network. An asset can be tangible, a house, a car, cash, land, or intangible as well. Example, intellectual property, patents, copyrights, and branding. Virtually anything of value can be tracked and traded on blockchain network, reducing risk and cutting costs for all involved. A blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer system on the blockchain. Each block in the chain contains a number of transactions, and every time a new transaction occurs on the blockchain, a record of that transaction is added to every participant's ledger. The decentralized database managed by multiple participants is known as distributed ledger (DLT). Now let's go to understand why blockchain is important. Business runs on information. The faster it is received and more accurate it is, the better blockchain is ideal for delivering the information because it provides immediate, shared, and completely transparent information stored on an immutable ledger that can be accessed only by permission network members. A blockchain network can track orders, payment, accounts, production, and much more. And because members share a single view of truth, you can see all details of transaction end to end, giving you greater confidence as well as new efficiency and opportunities. Here are some advantages of blockchain over existing system of different domains. Blockchain is decentralized, distributed, secure and faster, transparent and immutable. Now we will talk about key elements of blockchain. There are three main elements within a blockchain ecosystem. The first one, distributed ledger technology, the DLT. All network participants have access to distributed ledger and its immutable record of transaction. With this shared ledger, transactions are recorded only once, eliminating the duplication of effort that's typical of traditional business network. The second element is immutable records. No participant can change or tamper with a transaction after it's been recorded to a shared ledger. If a transaction recorded includes an error, a new transaction must be added to reverse the error, and both the transactions are then visible. The third element is the smart contract. To speed transaction, a set of rules called smart contract is stored on blockchain and executed automatically. A smart contract can define conditions for corporate bond transfers, include terms for travel insurance to be paid, and much more. Now let's talk about the properties of distributed ledger technology. There are 7 major properties of DLT. It is programmable, secure, anonymous, unanimous, timestamp, immutable, and distributed. Now let's talk about how blockchain works. In this present diagram, we are taking an example that we are trying to send a Bitcoin to one of your friends. So typically, a new transaction of a Bitcoin is entered. The transaction is then transmitted to a network of peer-to-peer computers scattered across the world. This network of computers then solves equation to confirm the validity of the transaction. Once they confirm to be legitimate transaction, they are clustered together into a block. These blocks are then chained together, creating a long history of all transactions that are permanent. Once this is completed, then the transaction is believed to be completed. During this whole 6 steps, there are 3 major events that has happened. As each transaction occurs, it records as a block of data. Those transactions shows the movement of an asset that can be tangible, a product, intangible, intellectuals. The data block can record the information of your choice: who, what, when, where, how, much, and even the condition such as temperature of a food shipment. Each block is connected to one before and after it. These block from chain of data as an asset move from place to place or ownership changes hands. The block confirms the exact time and sequence of transaction, and the block links securely together to prevent any block from being altered or block being inserted between 2 existing blocks. Transactions are blocked together in a irreversible chain. A block each additional block strengthens the verification of the previous block and hence entire blockchain. This renders the blockchain tamper evident, delivery the key strength of immutability. This removes the possibility of tampering by malicious actor and builds a ledger of transaction you and other network member can trust. All right, now we will talk about the types of blockchain networks. There are several ways to build a blockchain network. They can be public, private, permission, or built by a consortium. Now let's first talk about public blockchain networks. A public blockchain is one that anyone can join and participate in, such as Bitcoin. Drawbacks might include substantial computational power required, little or no privacy for transaction, and weak security. These are important considerations for enterprise use case of blockchain. Private blockchain network. A private blockchain network, similar to public blockchain network, is a decentralized peer-to-peer network. However, one organization governs the network, controlling who is allowed to participate, execute a consensus protocol, and maintain the shared ledger. Depending on the use case, this can significantly boost trust and confidence between participants. A private blockchain can be run behind a corporate firewall and even be hosted on premises. Permission blockchain network. Business who set up a private blockchain will generally set up a permission blockchain network. It is important to note that public blockchain network can also be permissioned. This places restriction on who is allowed to participate in the network and in what transaction. Participants need to obtain an invitation or permission to join. Consortium blockchain. Multiple organizations can share the responsibility of maintaining a blockchain. These pre-selected organizations determine who may submit transactions or access the data. A consortium blockchain is ideal for business when all participants need to be permissioned and have a shared responsibility for the blockchain. Now let's talk about the blockchain used cases. Blockchain's popularity and increasing industrial application are skyrocketing because of its innate quality. The decentralized and distributed ledger is immutable and completely transparent. There is no need for centralized authority to manage a blockchain network, and all the peers in the network verify the information stored in the blockchain ledger. The bottom line is it is highly secure and reliable with hardly any point of entry for hackers. According to the latest data, the global market for blockchain is projected to grow at 67.3% to reach a value of 39.7 US dollars. Uh, I beg your pardon, is 39.7 billion US dollar between 2020 to 2025. Now let's take a look on the different industry using blockchain technology. The developed country spend a good chunk of their gross domestic product, the GDP, on healthcare. However, hospital costs continue to mount, along with inefficient practices and health data breach are poised to continue. This is one area where blockchain technology can improve the situation. It can do many things from providing secure encryption of patient information to handling epidemics. Example, Burst IQ, which uses big data based smart contract, the blockchain, to facilitate the transfer of sensitive medical data between patients and doctor. These contracts specify clear outline and parameters for data sharing. They contain personalized health plan and other relevant details for individual patients. Blockchain technology has impacted the real estate industry in a variety of ways, including offering a new means for buyer and seller to connect with one another. Blockchain could be used to cut intermediaries out of the real estate transaction process, thereby reducing the cost. This technology could also help codify the practice of fractional ownership of real estate. Example, Propy is a real estate platform that uses blockchain-based title registry system. It automates all the transactions for brokers, realtors, and their clients. Thanks to blockchain technology, Propy makes title insurance instant and allow the buying, selling of property via cryptocurrency. Blockchain in banking system. The most obvious and basic use for blockchain technology is its use as a payment system. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency act both as a digital money and also a method to send payments in that money form around the globe. These transactions require only an internet connection and take place instantly. While it is true that it may take many minutes for a transaction to be 100% confirmed, the transaction itself takes place in a matter of moments. These transactions are borderless, secure, and largely anonymous. Furthermore, transaction costs are minimal, costing only few cents per transaction, making it much cheaper way to send money around the world than via companies like Western Union or via credit card processors such as Visa, MasterCard, Discover Financial Services. A merchant not wanting to pay the initial and ongoing fees in order to accept credit cards could take electronic payment via cryptocurrency instead for a fraction of the cost. Remittance overseas is a difficult undertaking. The fees are high, processing time is slow, the money can be intercepted or stolen, and there are legal and tax issues that must be considered. A blockchain-based system would eliminate these problems. Already, there are dozens of companies that have been started to facilitate remittance in this way. So in a nutshell, we can say that the main advantage of blockchain technology in the banking sector are that it improves efficiency, enhances security, unchangeable records, quick transaction time, and no third-party involvement, thus decreasing in the cost. One of the main advantages of blockchain in the history of immutable transaction. Blockchain and Internet of Things, that's IoT. Blockchain offer a scalable and decentralized environment to IoT devices, platforms, and applications. The Internet of Things open up countless opportunities for business to run smart operations. Every device around us is now equipped with servers sending data to the cloud. Therefore, combining these two technologies is making the existing IoT system more efficient. IoT blockchain enables the home security system to be manageable remotely from smartphone. But the traditional centralized approach to exchange information generated by IoT devices lack the security standards and ownership of data. Blockchain could elevate the smart home to the next level by solving the security issues. Blockchain in digital marketing. Blockchain in advertising is the answer to the digital advertising trust and transparency gap. The digital advertising ecosystem could lose up to 19 billion in fraud. Blockchain offers a solution, a digital dashboard in a near real time where ad buyers can verify the specifics of how all their various ads are performing in all the different channels. Unwanted and fraudulent bot activities forces advertisers to overpay and make customer data more difficult to track. Lack of trust in the digital supply between demand-side platform and sell-side platform in the programmatic ecosystem. Blockchain can enable enhanced data sharing without the risk of fraud. This completes the module 1 of the blockchain course. If you're looking for an instructor-led one-to-one training by one of our industry experts, please visit our site www.trainmehub.com. Please refer to the description link below to know more about the course. For self-learning, please visit Module 2.